Hey all, this is Jess from Sunflower Dairy, and today we're going to talk about soil blocking. Today I'm going to be starting a bunch of Lizianthus flowers, so let's get started. Alright, so first things first, we have our soil blocker, we have our seeds, we have our tray we're going to be putting our soil blocks on, we have our seed starting mix. So when you're starting your seed starting mix, you want to make sure that you go ahead and add some water. And when you're soil blocking, you want to go ahead and mix the water in to your soil. And when you use your soil blocker, you want to check and make sure that your seed starting mix actually sticks together before you start soil blocking. So a good way to check and see if your seed soil has enough water in it is just to go ahead and check it with the soil blocker. So don't be afraid to just work it right in there. What you're looking for is that the soil is actually compacting into your soil blocker, which it looks like it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and level off the bottom so that the soil blocks sit flat on the tray. Alright, so these trays, I have these trays. So these are actually a food tray, but a lot of people do use the actual seed starting trays for big soil blockers, but these food trays are actually a lot nicer because they don't have the little divots, that little indentations in them where the water pools up in the bottom. And with these little soil blockers, they don't dip down far enough to pick up the water out of those crevices in the bottom. So these are a lot nicer because they're flat. You don't have to worry about the indentations being so far down that these little tiny soil blockers can't soak up the water. So these are flat and these are perfect for that. And it looks like our seed starting mix is the right consistency. Those are holding their shape very well. I believe that I can fit about 6 soil blocks on here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Once you get the hang of soil blocking, the main thing is making sure that the seed starting mix has enough water and it holds its shape. That is the main thing to remember with soil blocking. If you can get that down, then soil blocking is pretty easy. And you don't really have to use any special kind of soil mix. I just use seed starting soil or potting soil, and either way, they work pretty well. Now for soil blocks, there's big soil blockers and there's small soil blockers. So I usually start out with the small soil blockers for smaller seeds, and then you can use the bigger soil blockers for bigger seeds, or there's soil blockers that will actually fit the small soil blocks into the bigger soil blocks, so you can actually up pot your soil blocks into bigger soil blocks, which is pretty cool, especially when your plants start getting pretty big. All right, we have 6 sets of soil blocks in here, so let's get started on our seeds. All right, so I have 6 different varieties of Lizianthus, and they are all from Johnny's, and I don't know if you can see the different varieties on there, but I have all different colors and I'm gonna go ahead and plant them in the soil blocks. All right, so I went ahead and labeled my tray with the different varieties I'm gonna be doing. So the first variety is a light pink Lizianthus. Now, if you've never seen a Lizianthus flowers, they're really beautiful. They almost kind of remind me of a rose slash mixed with a lily. Like, they're really beautiful. I can't really describe them very well, but they're the most gorgeous flower I've ever seen. All right, so these seeds are pretty small. So what you're gonna do is use a toothpick and you're just gonna dip it in water, and then you're going to pick up the seeds and put them in the different soil blocks. All right, so we have a seed on there. Just gonna go ahead and drop them all down in the box. Now, Lizianthus does not like to be covered, so we are just going to be setting these on the surface of the soil, and we're just going to spritz them, water them in, and put them under a light and let them do their thing. Now these soil blockers, they make little divots, so they have a little spot where you can put the seed right in there. Now just to give you a little visual so you can see each of the seeds right in those soil blocks. Alright, next we are doing a green Lizianthus variety. Here we go, hopefully it's focusing for you. Alright, the next Lizianthus is a white variety. So you can see that okay. Alright, we have this whole side seeded, so we're just going to flip this around and seed the other side. Alright, this variety, hopefully you can see that. That is a champagne variety of Lizianthus. Alright, next is a blue variety of Lizianthus. Alright, this last Lizianthus is a gold variety. Alright, so Lizianthus is a slow growing flower, which is why I'm starting it so early, because I'm zone 5B, so a lot of my flowers and vegetables are not going to be started till at least a few more weeks from now. So these get started very early because they grow super slow, but they are totally worth it. So these get started a lot sooner than everything else. And with the Lizianthus, they usually take 2 to 3 weeks to germinate. They take quite a while. And a lot of ways you can help them to grow quite a bit faster is making sure keeping them water so that helps with the germination, and also heat mats to help the germination process speed up. 3 more to go. So when you're watering your soil blocks, especially with these trays here, you can put the water in the bottom of the tray and water them, and then your soil blocks will just soak up the water. You don't want to overwater these, but whenever your soil blocks start looking dry, you just put water in the bottom of this, and then you'll be able to see the soil blocks soak up the water. Another good thing to do is actually putting like a humidity dome. So you could put like plastic wrap or some kind of plastic lid over this to help keep the humidity in, so that can help as well. But we have these all seeded, so that's exciting. Alright, so I am going to be going ahead and creating a humidity dome for this. So what I'm using to do this is a toothpick, and you can use a piece of modeling clay or Play-Doh or whatever you have. You're going to put this in the center of your tray. Now while you're doing this is going to help hold the plastic up so that it's not touching your seeds, and especially because we don't have the seeds covered, because the Lizianthus does not like to be buried with soil. So we're just going to go ahead and put this over this like so. Before we put the plastic on, we're just going to give this a little spritz just to water in our seeds. Alright, now we're just going to go ahead and put this over seed tray like so. There we have a humidity dome. Now we're just going to set these under the lights and put them on a heat mat, and in a couple weeks we should start seeing little Lizianthus babies. Alright, all, thanks for planting Lizianthus seedlings with me. Thanks for watching, and have a blessed day.